Let's take a look at mixed equations with whole numbers. They ask us to solve 3,411 plus 8,960. Okay, well, if I want to see what these two add up to, if I want to add without a calculator, it's going to be helpful for me to line my numbers up this way so I can make sure that I have the thousands column lined up, the hundred column lined up, the tens column lined up, and the ones column lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to add each column. So in the ones place, 1 plus 0 gives me 1. In the tens place, 1 plus 6 gives me 7. In the hundreds place, 4 plus 9 gives me 13. So I'm going to write 3, carry the 1. Okay, 3 and 8 is 11, plus the other one I had up here gives me 12. So my answer is 12,371. Okay, this time I'm adding 3,195 and 8,202. Okay, well, I'm just going to line these up to make my math a little easier for me to see. And again, just like before, I'm lining up the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. Okay, well, I'm going to add, starting in my ones column, 5 plus 2 gives me 7. In my tens column, 9 plus 0 gives me 9. In the hundreds column, 1 plus 2 gives me 3. And in the thousands column, 8 plus 3 gives me 11. So I wind up with 11,397. This time they ask us to subtract 8,310 minus 6,615. Okay, well, I still like to line this up to make it a little easier if I'm doing this without a calculator. 8,310 minus 6,615. Okay, so 0 minus 5, well, let's borrow 1 from here. That's going to become a 0. So 10 minus 5 gives me 5. Okay, I don't have room to say 0 minus 1, so I'm going to borrow from this. That becomes a 2. So 10 minus 1 would give us 9. 2 minus 6, okay, I'm going to borrow from here, make this a 7, and bring the 1 over. So 12 minus 6 would give me 6, and 7 minus 6 is 1. So I'm left with 1,695. $1,140 divided by 2. Okay, so let's set this up. If I want to divide without a calculator, 1,140, I'm going to write it like this just to give myself some room to work, divided by 2. Okay, so 2 doesn't go into 1, so I'm going to look at this as, I'm going to move it to the next place and say, well, does 2 go into 11? Yes, 2 goes into 11. Well, it doesn't go in evenly, right? 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I'm going to say 2 goes into 11 5 times, right? And 2 times 5 gives me 10. So if I subtract the 10, well, 11 minus 10, that's going to give me 1. 2 doesn't go into 1, so I'm going to bring down the 4. Okay, 2 goes into 14 7 times. That goes in evenly, so if I subtract 14, right, 2 times 7 is 14, that leaves me with 0. And when I bring down the 0, 2 goes into 0 0 times. And of course that gives me 0, so I have no remainder. 1,140 divided by 2 gives me 570. Okay, this time we're going to add 2,580 plus 8,259. Okay, well, if we're adding without a calculator, let's add them written on top of each other. So 2,580 plus, I'm going to line up my thousands I'm going to line up my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. Okay, and then I'm going to add starting in my ones column. 0 plus 9 gives me 9, gives me 13. So I'm going to write the 3, carry the 1. 5 and 2 is 7, plus that extra 1 gives me 8. And 2 plus 8 gives me 10. So my answer is 10,839.